The only reflection she feared was the one that told the truth. Chapter 4. The Bitter Mirror. The mirror in Tenny's makeup studio was unforgiving. Not because of her face, it was still there. The flawless bone structure, the enchanting eyes, the lips that once sold hair brands and broke hearts. But today, all she saw was fatigue. Her beauty looked like a costume left on too long, crumpled, familiar, dull. She was sitting in a red leather chair, the kind meant for celebrity clients, but she wasn't a client today. She was a walk-in. No appointment, no team, just her and a cracked iPhone held in both hands like her most prized possession. Tenny, the makeup artist she once called that local brush pusher at a Lagos brunch, was surprisingly warm. "Are you okay?" Tenny asked, gently pressing foundation into the face of another client. Priscilla nodded too quickly, then shook her head. No, I'm not." She had decided to be honest with herself going forward. Tenny looked at her for a moment, then offered her stool by the window. No makeup, no small talk, just space. Priscilla sat and stared at the reflection of herself in the studio glass. Half real, half illusion. She remembered laughing at Tenny years ago for using an Android phone, for offering free classes to up-and-coming artists. Now, Tenny was booked months ahead, trusted, respected, confident in her craft. And here she was, sitting like a ghost in her own city. "Why are you here, Pris?" Tenny asked quietly. The question wasn't laced with spite, just curiosity and something else, care maybe. Priscilla almost said, "I need help with content, or I came to fix my brows," but the lie caught in her throat. "I don't know who I am," she whispered, and just like that, her composure cracked. She spoke, really spoke, like she's been yearning to speak from her heart for some time, about the betrayal she built her life on, the empty high of attention, the friends she lost, the roles she missed, the TikTok life that ruined her deal, the voice note to Daisy that never got a reply, the longing to be touched, not by desire, but by sincerity. Tenny listened, no judgment, just quiet nods and a box of tissues placed beside her. After the flood of words dried, Tenny spoke. "Praise. Lagos doesn't need another pretty face. It needs women who are real. You are still here, and that's a start." That evening, Priscilla walked out of the studio without makeup, at least not the professional one she was used to. She didn't post about it. She didn't take a selfie. She just walked. Past the down football buses, past the Okadas, past a little girl selling oranges with her mother by the roadside. And for the first time in forever, she wasn't thinking about how she looked. She was thinking about how she felt and what she wanted to become. Without applause, who are you? Chapter 5. When the lights go off. The silence of obscurity was jarring. No tags, no reposts, no inbox gifts, no DMs from verified accounts begging to collaborate. For the first time since she turned 16, Priscilla went a full week without her name echoing in a stranger's mouth. And yet, in the absence of noise, something new crept in. Clarity. She moved out of her Lekki apartment and into a modest room in her aunt's flat in Ojota. The Wi-Fi was bad and the kitchen tiles were cracked, but it was clean, peaceful, real. Every morning, she woke up to the sound of commercial vehicles rushing to start the day, not ring lights. At first, her fingers itched to scroll, to compare, to post. But what would she even share? Her morning oats? Her reflections on silence? Instead, she began picking out uplifting podcasts on channels, podcasts from experiences that were related to her journey and who she's becoming, on rebuilding her spirituality, her relationships. She even attempted to participate in the Ramadan fasting when it started, to the surprise of her aunt's family. "I was raised to believe beauty could fix anything," Priscilla confessed one evening while having dinner with a friend she's reconnected with, voice barely audible. "And what happens when beauty isn't enough?" he asked kindly. Priscilla didn't know yet, but she was finally willing to find out. She signed up for a digital branding course online under the name Praise Adewale. No makeup, no filters, just her. At 9, she practiced with Canva, building small mock portfolios. It was tedious. She liked it. And on weekdays, She shadowed Tenny at the makeup studio, not as a client, but as an assistant. She swept floors, washed brushes, booked appointments, carried stools. She even calmed crying brides. And when they complimented her voice or thanked her for her warmth, she didn't try to post it. She smiled, not from pride, but from peace. Then came a message from a number she hadn't seen in a while. Daisy. Heard you're working with Tenny. She's brilliant. I'm proud of you. Let me know if you ever want to talk. She didn't reply immediately. Priscilla stared at the screen, her eyes blurred, cradling it like something sacred. One Saturday, during a bridal prep session, a young woman, barely 19, took her aside. You are Priscilla, right? You used to be everywhere. I used to envy you, but now you seem so grounded. What changed? Priscilla smiled gently, pressing the final pin into the bride's veil. I stopped performing. I started living. That night, she sat in front of a mirror, as is now her routine, her daily check-in session. No lights, no camera, just her. She looked at herself, truly, and didn't flinch. This time, she walked through the door, not because it was open, but because she knocked with truth. This is the last chapter, 6, Becoming Priscilla. It started with a voice note, rough, unsure, unscripted. Hi, this is Priscilla, not the girl you followed on Instagram or saw in flyers, just me. I wanted to talk about what happens when you lose everything you once used to define yourself. She paused, then smiled. And how that can be the best thing that can ever happen to you. She posted it to a blank Instagram page named @Becoming Praise. No filters, no glossy hair, just a 40-second reel of her speaking on healing, identity, and starting over. She didn't expect much, maybe a few curious clicks. By morning, it had over 12,000 views and even comments, not because of scandal, but because of sincerity. She followed with short videos, reflections on the illusion of soft life, what therapy and regular self-reflection had taught her, and the difference between being admired and being loved. Her DMs changed, not full of lust or envy, but gratitude. Thank you for saying what I've been afraid to admit. You helped me quit my toxic sleep. I didn't know you could be this real. She was finally becoming visible, not for her beauty alone, but for her honesty. One afternoon, she got an email from a women's conference in Ghana. Subject, keynote invitation, reclaiming self-worth in a world obsessed with image. She stared at it for a full minute and then laughed. A real belly deep laugh. The kind she hadn't felt since childhood. Not mockery, not sarcasm, just joy. She accepted. On the morning of the conference, she wore a simple white dress, no professional makeup, just confidence and self-assurance. As she stood behind the podium, she scanned the crowd, hundreds of women, eyes wide, waiting. She began. My name is Priscilla Adewale. For years, I was addicted to being seen until I realized I'd never actually been known. This is the story of how I unlearned performance and found purpose. They listened, they clapped, they cried. Later that evening, she got a reply from Daisy, a voice note. I see you now, Pris, and this version of you, she's gold. Let's catch up soon. She didn't cry this time, she just nodded at her reflection. Calm, centered, complete. Not perfect, but present. She walked out into Accra's evening breeze, a soft light in her eyes. For the first time in her life, she wasn't chasing doors, she was building them. And she walked through, not as a symbol, but as herself. The end.